team at this point?
Yeah, we're I would say steadily improving. We've been able to stay very healthy, a lot of reps, keeping a lot of guys on the field. I think our off day, 2 days ago really came at a good time. We really pushed them hard up through that. Guys did a good job of handling the off day, recovering. It was a good chance for all of our guys, especially our newer or young guys, to kind of take a breath mentally. We try to install a bunch here early, almost overload them, understand that there's going to be a lot of mistakes early, but we want to expose them to it. And so you see them now in the last couple of practices starting to settle in a little bit more. The ball's been cleaner. They're starting to, really get in, practice kind of shape. So I'd say the quality's going up every day.
With the pads on, and if you had physical practices?
Very. Yeah, we've kind of had to try to pull them off a little bit, which that's always what you want. So they were ready for them to be on. They hate the first 2 days in no pads as much as all of us do, but they've responded well. Been very physical, but like I said, we've been able to stay healthy too.
How different is this for you right now versus this time last year? What's the biggest difference for you personally?
Yeah, just everything's not new for me. That's the biggest. You kind of have an idea of the schedule, and this schedule's better than the one that we had last year for all the reasons we've already talked about. I think more settled with the staff, more settled in my role. A lot of mistakes that I jotted down throughout the year that I wanted to do better, that I'm trying to do better. We as a staff are trying to do better, so hopefully as a whole we're putting on a better camp.
Thus far in camp, how have Austin and Kyler been handling the quarterback battle?
Really good. I would say they're playing the way I expected them both to play. Both been sharp. You can kind of feel them pushing each other. Seems like one guy will kind of make a play or have a good period or this or that, and then the other guy responds. There hasn't been any major separation by any stretch. It's been quality play by both those guys. They're both quite a bit better than they were in the spring right now. But yeah, they just kind of seem to keep one-upping each other, which is how it should be. So you like that they're competing at a high level, but they're also not trying to do too much. And I would say the last couple of days have two of their best practices.
Lincoln, at that position, mistakes will be made. How important is it to push through those mistakes and not try to play to make plays, but not avoid mistakes?
Yeah, that's a fine line of playing that position. If you play it passive, you can't play it well, and if you play it too aggressive, you can't play it well. It's a delicate balance, and and I think more for those guys, they know the aggressiveness that we want to have offensively. It's finding times that it's appropriate, finding times that it makes sense, whether within a look we're seeing defensively, a call we have offensively. A lot of times the situation of the game, will dictate that. So they got to be able to process that. That's got to become natural for those guys, and so we're trying to put them in as many situations as we can right now and get that simulated.
How much more does a scrimmage mean in your eyes than a regular practice?
No more, other than we tackle, more in the scrimmages. So you get a better chance to evaluate. Defenders get people on the ground. You get a better chance to evaluate ball carriers finishing runs. You get a better chance to evaluate ball security, creating turnovers, especially fumbles with that. And I do think, too, you get an idea of how guys are going to handle the overall situations when special teams mixed in, when coaches aren't there helping you on the field, when you're changing personnel groupings from the side. So you kind of get an idea of, are they just going to handle the overall scope of playing in a game versus a practice.
Lincoln, could you tell us about the thinking behind the protective helmets, kind of where that came from and how that benefits your team?
Yeah, as you guys know, Scott Anderson and Brock Schnabel, our entire medical crew has been at the forefront of concussion research. Darn near every kind of research we look at, has their name cited at the bottom, so it's been a big deal. We've had these pads, these helmet pads, for a little while. We've traditionally used them for if we're breaking in game helmets, like give an example, a week where we're going to use the alternate helmets. We'll practice in them that week just to not scuff them up. It's really how they've been used. And then through some research that Scott and them were made available to here in the off-season, we thought there was going to be some advantages to wearing those, potentially reduce some of the collisions. So we have put them on all of the front seven, defensively mandatory. We've put them on everybody on offense, but our quarterbacks, receivers, of course, if guys have wanted it. Outside of that, we've let them do it. And you know what? I can't say it's the reason why, but we have not had a rash of concussions this deal, and part of it, I think, is us practicing smart, or us learning to manage that, not having two-a-days, guys learning to to play with their head up and play safe. But are these having an effect? They darn sure haven't hurt.
Would you be willing, Lincoln, to share any specific highlights that either quarterback has done so far for people who can't watch that battle?
Oh boy, you're pushing me there. Yeah, they've both had just some really stellar periods. I would say the thing though that has been really good about both of them is they both have been, you know, really good in our situational work. You know, I think we're throwing the deep ball really well right now. You know, and that's something that's been a staple of this offense. We got to be able to do it. I think both of them have really stepped forward there. We've had a number of, you know, long pass plays where it's just a one-on-one play, the coverage is there, and we've thrown the ball really, really well. So I've been really pleased with our development. And I think that's them developing just as throwers, but also understanding the offense and then just knowing they're individual guys here. So,
talk about the emergence of Deshaun White and how good has he been for you early in camp?
Yeah, I mean, for a guy that hadn't played, man, he's very talented. He is very, very twitchy, very active. I love how fast he's picked it up. I mean, it's just a matter of time. He's one of those guys just look at and say it's a matter of time for he's going to be a really, really good player. So, yeah, he's doing a great job. We're very pleased with him right now.
I'm sure you're the least surprised of anyone, but what did you think of Baker's performance last night?
Yeah, I saw the first touchdowns. We were walking out to walk through, and then I didn't get to see. I recorded it, watched it at home after. They looked good. You know, they looked comfortable. I thought they did a great job moving around in the pocket. That was probably the most impressive thing. They did a decent job of protecting him, and he threw it like we all know that he can throw it. So I know he's excited. Talked to him a little bit after the game. I know he's excited, but also keeping it in perspective. It's only one game. Everybody now is going to say, you know, it's an overreaction either way, which was going to happen. But he just got to keep his head down, keep improving. Looks like he's on a good path.
You have a lot of youth on your defense. There's a lot of energy. People keep saying energy. What do guys like Justin Broyles, you know, Kenneth Murray, those guys talk a lot. Yep. Does that energy kind of spill over to other guys? Have you noticed that a lot?
Yeah, no doubt. You have to have that. You know, we've had it in the past few years with, you know, with Hobo, with Joe Mixon, with Orlando, you know, some of those guys, Baker. A lot of those guys are just so vocal all the time that even maybe on a day like today, which is 7th practice, it's humid as hell out here, you know, guys are going through the grind. Those are the guys can kind of get the whole thing picked up. And so, yeah, Kenneth and Broyles especially have had a lot of energy. Motley, I would put in that group as well. Those guys have got a lot of energy. Excited about how they're kind of bouncing around. It makes a big difference for the team.
Lincoln, with Bill and Cale as the co-coordinators, you as the play caller, where does Shane fit into the offensive game planning and that kind of thing as assistant head coach for offense?
Yeah, I would say he fits in just like any of our assistants. You know, it's given, you know, first off for our positions, it's given us a chance to divide up those H-backs and tight ends, which was something, you know, was a key. You know, so I think it's helped our players just being able to get more maybe individual coaching, you know, where Jay was so stretched out. You know, Shane brings a unique background. You know, obviously did a lot of good things offensively at Georgia, have been strong offensively at his other stops. So somebody that, you know, constantly getting new ideas from, a guy to run ideas by. He's been very helpful as far as having been a number of places and talking to them about the way they practice or do certain things, not just from an offensive standpoint, but more, you know, team oriented. So a guy that's, you know, been assistant head coach, been recruiting coordinator, been a special teams coordinator, he's worn a lot of hats. So he brings great experience, he brings great energy. He's been outstanding so far.
He's coached corners and linebackers too in his past.
Exactly.
Is that pretty rare?
No, it is. Yeah, that's one of the things I loved about him, and as far as hiring him, was his versatility as a coach, and I think that's definitely aided us so far.
Have you talked, Lincoln? Have you talked in the last 10 days or so since the Ohio State scandal broke? What have you said, if anything, to your staff in the wake of all that?
Yeah, no, it was a good chance. It's something our school, our university, with our Title IX department, our administration, they do a good job of educating us on that. It's something that we have talked about beforehand. It wasn't anything new, but it was a good chance just to remind guys, you know, that whether it's you, whether it's one of your family members, anybody involved in anything, that we've got to report it. You know, we're mandatory reporters. There's no secrets in this world anymore, and we've got to be honest with each other. We've got to communicate, and that there's, you know, obviously no room for any of that on our staff by you or one of your family members. You know, that happens here, they won't work here. And so they know that we have good people, but it definitely is a good chance to remind them, because it's, you know, it's obviously a thing, something like that. It doesn't affect just you, it affects so many people.
Can you kind of talk about your return game as you were kind of looking at return punts on OC last year? Is he kind of a guy who looked good again this year, or you have some other guys that you're
we're going to look at some guys. We thought we were, decent at times on that, but feel like we need to take some steps. Some of that will be CD being a year older, but we're going to look at, we're going to look at Rodney Anderson. We're going to look at Marquise. We're going to look at Jalen Robinson back there. As far as kickoff right now, looking at Marcel Sutton, thought he did some good things for us last year. I like Rodney there as well. Michael Jones. So we've got TJ Pledger's another guy we're looking at right there. So we're kind of into the early stages of it. We've been working a lot of individual work with special teams, but as we get into group work, that's been a big point of emphasis for us, is improving both of our return games.
Lincoln, Caleb Kelly had told us on Tuesday, that at that point that Kenneth Murray kind of had the biggest hit of camp so far. I'm just curious what kind of jump you're seeing from him and how important those two positions are for your defense overall, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, first thing is he's healthy. As healthy as he's been in a while. That, almost what it ended up being, almost 8 months off of contact made a big difference. And so he's healthy, he's able to practice right now. You see the physicality, you see just a more confident player. When you're more confident, you're going to settle in, play faster, play more physical. So he's definitely doing that. And then I think, too, it's helped him, just the emergence of Deshaun White, the emergence of Curtis Bolton, I think, is doing a lot of nice things for us. Of course, Caleb. So we're seeing a lot of different things right now, or a lot of different guys play well. So there's, even though a guy like Kenneth played a bunch, a guy like Caleb played a bunch, their spots are by no means set. It's a good competition in there right now. We've got those 4 guys in there. They're doing well. We are experimenting a little bit right now with John Michael Terry as an outside backer due to the emergence, and feel like we've got some good depth there, and his skill set is one that could play inside or outside, so it's given a chance for us to really rip those 4 hard inside, and it's a dogfight right now.
Probably didn't think a year ago you'd be moving an inside linebacker to another position. You didn't have that kind of depth.
No, we've worked hard in recruiting to make it that way, and also throw Levi Draper in that mix. He's done a nice job for us as well. So we feel like we've got a pretty nice crew right there, and it's it's going to help us on special teams. It'll help us in our specialty packages, and obviously create depth and competition.
Everybody sees Kyler's athletic gifts. What stands out about him aside from the athletic stuff? The mental stuff, the workout stuff, those types of things.
Yeah, he's got a good feel for the game. He's played a lot of ball in his life. And you can just tell he's got a good feel. He's got a good feel for when things break down. A good feel for scramble situations, and he understands the game. He's not a rep guy. He's not a guy that needs 1,000 reps to be good at something. And so there's a good natural feel, and just that thing that a lot of great athletes have, where they kind of always look smooth and natural, and he certainly has that.
Lincoln, we're talking about the kick returns. Are we seeing the demise of kick returns? Just kickoffs, you don't get to return many. The rules are not letting you, and in punts, you guys are a good example. You really just want the ball.
Exactly. No, it's definitely getting phased out. This will be an interesting year with our changes in rules, and then obviously the NFL's changes in rules in the kickoff. Just kind of what that effect is. It'll be interesting to look at the data after this year, and how many less are there. I think it's easily, especially the kickoff, is easily the most dangerous play in football. Most injuries per play by far, and so with the way it's going, is it headed towards maybe extinction? Yeah, maybe so. The
punt returns, though, is not as dangerous, but the offenses are so good, you don't have to. You just want somebody that can catch it.
They are, and then these punters are getting so good, and throwing so much hang time up on the ball normally that just getting it fielded is a challenge, and coverage teams have a chance to get under it. So I think that's been a factor as well. But yeah, and definitely if you're not as good on offense, you're definitely going to be more aggressive on punt return.
Did you have somebody unintentionally take out Austin Kendall in a practice?
No.
He hadn't had an ankle issue or been in a big
he's had a little soreness, but he hadn't missed any time. He's doing well.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the Jordan gear, is there a situation where you've had to maybe re-emphasize the importance of being careful? Like North Carolina, some of those kids just got in some trouble. Obviously, Jordan adds value to the stuff you guys have. Is that something that you guys have had to discuss, or just discussed on your own?
Yeah, no, we have. We discussed it when we came in for camp. We just had a presentation on it the other night in the team meeting and used North Carolina as an example. No doubt, that stuff's high demand. It's worth a lot of money, and our guys have got to be smart and understand how severe the penalties are for it.
Thanks, Tim.
All right.
Thanks, Micah.